think my role today is going to set a little bit of context before we have that fabulous panel. As Sarah said, I run the business intelligence company PSFK. You may have come across it. We have all these reports that we publish. A lot of agency planners, agency strategists come and rate us for great ideas and stuff like that. And one of the things that we've done for 8 years is we've done this report, The Future of Retail. Anybody ever read our Future of Retail reports? Okay, maybe next year I'll get 4 more. You okay? We've been publishing, we publish all sorts of reports. We just published Chat report as well, and we'll talk about Chat a little bit today. And today I'm going to just talk about shopping. I'm going to talk about retail. And it's a new report for me. I gathered some new research and some new framing, so I'm going to continuously look back unprofessionally and remind myself what I'm going to talk about. But as I said, I've been doing shopping, I've been doing future retail for 8 years, and we've obviously saw the boom of social, we saw the boom of mobile and the impact that's had. And one of the things we still find when we talk to brands and when we talk to agencies is that companies are still siloed. There's still a siloed approach when it comes to retail. The customer is bouncing around all these channels and just sees this brand as a one brand, one place, but companies are still set up to have a mobile division, a desktop division, and agencies kind of seem to follow the same structure. I know it changes, but that's my impression. And so today I'm going to just talk a little bit, maybe provide a little bit of framing about how that can all come together, and particularly the role of mobile in the customer experience cycle, the life cycle that we have here, okay? And so I'm just going to talk about kind of 4 larger themes that we see happening within the space, and then just talk about some trends and some best-in-class examples, and hopefully, again, just set you up for the discussion in a minute. So the first big theme is this idea of this omnipresent, I have to remind myself, omnipresent engagement. And so the idea here is, customers are expecting to talk to you 24 hours a day. Are you ready for that? Are you ready not to just kind of broadcast to them, but actually to engage them, to actually have a worthwhile, emotional, engaging conversation with them at any time, any place? We see a couple of trends coming through and these kind of opportunities for brands. So we see this idea of the conversational assistants. There's a lot of chat about whether chat is over, but for me, chat is this sort of long-term trend, this long-term medium. And so we see kind of interfaces, this interface being used and applied everywhere. One of the great examples that we saw recently was with Bing. So I don't know if you've seen this, the last time you binged, obviously, but when you search, they're beginning to introduce a chat service. And so retailers, small and large, brands, small and large, can get a kind of chat, an AI-enabled chat service. And so when you search, you get the classic search results, plus a chat box turns up, and it looks branded from the company and can answer a number of questions by that company at any time during that sales process. So it's also one of the big things is being at the right time, right place, where your customers are, as we all know. And then the other kind of theme that we have here is this idea of the visual search streams. How do we, customers are looking to kind of purchase, looking to buy when they see the thing that they want. And we've seen this idea developing over time, but eBay have been pushing this. And so eBay now has a kind of visual search engine within its app, which allows you to take a picture or bring in a picture from social media, and it will do a visual search of the product that you're looking for. And, it might not find the same product that you actually take a picture of, but it's going to find another product within its search engine. There's a number of implications attached to this idea of the omnipresent engagement. I like this kind of this theme about empowering your customers to kind of self-serve as well. There's always a right time for a human to interface, but thinking about how do we actually just give the tools to the customer to allow them to go along the purchase path. This second theme is around personalized attention. So personalized attention really is around how do we provide a one-to-one experience every time to every customer, which in some ways kind of blows our minds. It's kind of advertisers where we're like, well, we used to kind of do pretty large mailings. Maybe we used to do direct mailings, which kind of were one-on-one, but we never expected the customer to like react. And so, but what's happening is we now need to kind of work out ways that we can actually interface the customer every time, help them feel like they have a personal conversation, personal relationship every time. And we see kind of sophisticated CRM systems jump into place, going across mobile, going across desktop, going across your point of sale systems, and being able to understand what the customer is doing, especially if you bring in an element of artificial intelligence. TripAdvisor's using this. It's watching how you go through the site, how you use their app. And what it does is it pushes notices through messaging, through chat. And what they're trying to do is be a helpful brand, not a salesy brand or pushy brand. So when it kind of works out, there's a great deal, you've got spring break coming up and things like that, it can provide an advice rather than just kind of cold calling. And then we can also see the use of guided curation. So the use of AI to provide advice along that purchase path to drive people along the purchase path. One of our favorite examples is this Levi's app. As you may know, it's kind of hard to buy jeans. I find it hard to buy jeans. And this, my video doesn't work today. It's a AI chat app which basically asks you questions, responds to you, and helps you understand whether you want your skinny jeans, your baggy jeans, or what other type of jeans through the system. It will show you pictures, it will show you pictures of stars and things like that, and it will drive you along a purchase path kind of to the right pair of jeans. And it's kind of one of the kind of recommendations here is, if you thought about how can you make the AI the face of the brand, which kind of sounds scary, and Elon Musk scary, but what can you do to kind of use that technology to kind of be the interface? And I think customers are clever enough to, they know when they're talking to a machine, and I don't think we need to hide it and pretend that there's a human being. So I think but they do like humanity kind of built into their technology. This third area is around confidence building. And so how can we use new technologies? We hear, I'm sure some of you experimented with AR, with VR. How can we use that to kind of engage in an emotional level, create memorable moments? We see a lot of kind of experimentation with augmented retail. People either bringing their phones into stores or they're using things like HoloLens. This is a Japanese company whose name I can't pronounce that basically has a HoloLens, Microsoft HoloLens capability within the store, so you can put on the device, and you can basically dress mannequins, and you can change the clothes, and you can actually buy within the HoloLens experience as well. So, I'm sure you're already experimenting already, but I think customers love this experimentation. They don't mind when it fails. They love to see, everyone loves to put on a VR set or a pair of goggles. And so how can you kind of use that to kind of create an engaging experience? And the fourth area is around this kind of idea of value-added relationships. So how can we make all our products, the products we sell, connected, and how can we therefore make that part of, once we have it connected, make that the purchase exchange part of a kind of lifelong relationship. Let me explain. So one of the examples here is this idea of this passive purchasing. So whilst we've seen a lot of kind of lean forwards purchasing, there's also lean back purchasing. And so how can we use our smart home to buy for us? And how can we use other kind of systems to kind of do the purchasing and help us with our retail load? Here's Tesco. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is Tesco using something called IFTTT, which is a a mechanism which allows your smart products to talk to one another and talk to other systems. So with Tesco, it has a whole bunch of recipes. So if your eggs are low, if your milk is low, if you have a number of other smart, if it's warm today, you can set up recipes that will automatically shop for you. Maybe they'll add things to your shopping basket and things like that. So one of the kind of big themes we have here is around trying to kind of reframe the relationship with the shop and thinking of them as members a little bit, rather than just kind of shoppers, and think about that immediate exchange. I think because we have this data and we have this, we can talk to them at any time, just reframing the way we think about customers could create a kind of more engaging and, again, emotional and valuable relationship. So, again, a little context around kind of the use of mobile and how mobile might fit within retail today, and a few takeaways. So, I think what mobile allows you to do is kind of develop a unique voice. It allows you to have a chat forum. It allows you to kind of connect with customers in different ways on a one-to-one level. Because, shoppers are super busy and have limited money to actually shop with, there's an opportunity to actually become a trusted partner by actually providing more advice. There's always an opportunity to close the sale, but what can you do as a brand to actually provide additional information and help them during their kind of purchase path? The third part we talked about a lot. How do you personalize at every touch point? How do you provide a personal experience? And the fourth one is, how do we transform transactions into wow moments? So the computers can do the delivery, can make everything, deliver on time. They can do all the rational stuff. They can check all their boxes. And so when you have that kind of streamlined retail experience, how can you bring in humanity to actually kind of create moments of delight? And then, once you have that purchase, how do you think of that customer as a VIP, and then think about that kind of lifetime journey as a VIP, as a member of your club? So hopefully that just gives you kind of some framing, helps to warm up the conversation today. If you'd like to copy of the chat report that we did, yeah, if you'll just drop me a line and we'll send it out afterwards. Thank you so much. Great.
Okay, so we are going to have a few quick questions. I was lucky enough to read that beautiful Future of Retail, and it truly is a retail handbook. So, product placement. Yep.
Yeah.
If you can
Ron's
get
got
that,
Nikes
please
on,
do.
so I've got
Yep,
my book.
100%.
Yeah.
So there is a topic that you didn't touch that I would love for you to touch that I think the audience will enjoy, which is this concept of blended retail. Can you give them an overview of that?
Well, I think it's us just saying it's time to take a step back. We just spent the last 3-4 years getting our mobile up to speed, getting different systems up to speed. And as I said, the customer doesn't think about the brand in that way. And so even though we have all these systems, taking a step back, resetting the strategy a little bit, and thinking about how to kind of connect the customer at every touch point.
And I think you had mentioned too in blended retail, it's more about the experience within the store, possibly less inventory. What do you think that's going to do? That seems very leaned in on brand loyalty. What do you think that's going to do to the impulse shopper?
Oh, the impulse shopper. Well, I think even with the impulse shopper, you can still satisfy in different ways. So, I could be in a store and I could see something I want to buy, but maybe I don't want to carry it home. So there's always kind of ways that technology can support that sale and make it an easier and better experience. So there's people are still going to be walking to stores. They're still going to be browsing, doing the things they've been doing for thousands of years in marketplaces. But
so this idea of showrooming and web rooming kind of changes
I like
a
that,
bit.
web rooming. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, maybe.
You heard it here.
Mobile rooming. Awesome. So another set that I think you may enjoy is you had 5 really great lessons for creative agencies and how to lean in there. Can you kind of run through or read them?
Yeah. I just so when we did this report, I did a quant, I think relatively quant study where I interviewed consultants, agencies, brands, and there was what came through was a couple of really interesting things, especially the differences between consultancies and agencies. But a couple of those things are, so with the mobile, so it sounds obvious to be mobile first, but I think, today mobile is sort of kind of like continues to follow the desktop experience in many ways for many brands, and kind of, that's a little bit like the old days when digital used to follow the TV spots. Yeah, like my mother-in-law hasn't used a desktop computer in 6 months. People, this is leapfrog. People are, it's not just we're walking around. People aren't using desktop anymore, and getting ourselves out of that mentality. And then a couple of things in terms of the difference between consultancies and agencies are, the consultancy is really focused on the kind of business issues, and I think there's an opportunity to still be the kind of voice and the champion of the customer. I think that's where there's an opportunity to differentiate. But where agencies lack it compared to consultancies is an understanding of cognitive computing, AI. How do you create a one-on-one relationship every time? That's a headache anyway. But agencies have to get their heads around it, because they're the ones who should be delivering that experience.
Awesome. Absolutely agree. We have time for two more. So one topic that you had brought up briefly as well in that handbook is beacons. So,
yeah.
in somewhere in there, I'm telling you, there is a word beacon in there.
Yeah.
But I think this idea of truly improving the shopping experience. Is it scalable? Is it invasive? At what point do we really think that will take off?
Yeah, all these technologies. We've had the hype of beacons and the hype of all these technologies, and I think it's. All they are tools that allow us to kind of create personal experiences within the store. I think we are becoming more and more comfortable with messaging as we do things, and
Yep.
but as long as there's a respectful way to kind of opt in and opt out, and there's a respectful trade. I think the bigger thing is less about the hardware and the technology and how it gets to you, but as we know, it's that how does the shopper the retailer get my information?
Yep.
What is the exchange of services? How can I find? What's the transparency in that experience? And obviously, it's more important than ever that we consider that as marketers and retailers.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the future of retail. What's the future? If there is one pinpoint, one key fact that really catapults the future of retail, what do you think that's going to be?
I just think, I think we see it. We see the evolution. If you go to some of the shopping malls, there's experimentation. You go to Century City, and you go to some other malls. You see, obviously, a lot of experiential happening. Right now, it's mainly in foods.
Yeah.
And a couple other things, but you begin to see, go-kart tracks being entered into shopping malls. You begin to see these like pop-ups. You've seen these egg houses and these little color Instagrammable experiences which are appearing here and there. And I think right now they're in Brooklyn and Mission, and I think all of that's going to spread around the country, and so that's going to be really fun to watch.
Exciting. Yeah. Excited to go go-kart racing and buying a dress. A big thank you, Pierce. Yeah. And we are going to be calling up our panel now, but a huge thank you. Very much appreciate it. It was great. Thank you.